لرهبتك سمندر،
أنت من للهدى مصدر،
وسيوكاتها هنا.
يا حيد إلك إيد تنجي الندى محتار.
It is difficult to pinpoint the history of this darih, but what we know is that this current one behind me was built by the head of the Bohra community, Tahir Saifuddin, who donated it from India, and it was installed in 1942 on the occasions of the wilada of Imam Ali alayhi salam on the 13th of Rajab. It took 5 years to build at a cost of 80,000 dinars at a time. Inside the darih, this golden shrine, is a rare box made of the best Indian wood and inlaid with shells. It was created in 1202 AH and measures 4.83 meters in length, 3.03 meters in width, and 1.83 meters in height. The art that manufactures such antiques is known as Fan al-Khatami, and the box has been shrouded in glass for maintenance since 1361. At the darih of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, there is a place known as Mawdha' al-Isba'ain, literally the place of two fingers. It's across the place where the Imams alayhi salam's holy face lies. It has been said that there was a tyrant ruler whose name was Al-Murra ibn Qais, who was once speaking about his tribe and his forefathers. He asked the elders of his tribe about those who had passed away from his family, and in response they said that many of them had been killed in a battle. He further asked about those who had killed them, and they responded by saying that most of them had been killed at the hands of Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib. So he asked, where is Ali buried? And was told that he was buried in Najaf. Murra then sent an army of 2,000 individuals to storm Najaf. After 6 days of defending the city, the people of Najaf were defeated. And Murra entered the shrine and began to destroy it. As he was about to exhume the grave, 2 fingers came out of the darih and, as though they were a sword, cut him in half. At that very moment, the 2 halves of his body became stone, and these 2 stones were then kept near the road and the pathway, after which the army took them and indeed hid them. This is known as Mawdha' al-Isba'ain, the place of the 2 fingers. Iwan al-Ulama, the place of scholars, is an area just in front of the mosque of Imran ibn Shaheen, inside the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam. Iwan al-Ulama is a place where a number of scholars are buried, and this is characteristic of the shrine. All across it there are graves of notable, very respected ulama of Islam that have chosen and have requested to be buried in proximity to the brother of Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam. Now, of course, there is a close relationship between ulama, knowledge, and the Imam, peace and blessings be upon him. Knowledge is very much something part and parcel of the city of Najaf. There is a huge seminary here. Every morning you find hundreds of scholars coming here, taking part in Hawza lessons all across in different parts of this particular shrine. Remembering, of course, that they seek inspiration from a man that has been praised by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he says, "Ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha." I am the city of knowledge and Ali, its gate. As students of ilm in the holy city of Najaf, coming to study next to Amir al-Mu'mineen, there is a special feeling. There is a feeling that is very hard to describe. It is as if the Imam alayhi salam is somehow encouraging the students, somehow pushing them and inspiring them to gain this understanding and to disseminate the teachings of the Qur'an as well as that of the Ahl al-Bayt. Peace and blessings be upon them. The sacred golden dome of the shrine of Imam Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam is regarded as one of the most prominent features of the holy shrine for both its massiveness as well as its height. It is distinguished by its long neck, which adds to its majesty and brilliance, in addition to the accuracy and harmony of its art, offering a spectacular scene to viewers from both inside and the outside. Now, the dome of Imam Ali alayhi salam's holy shrine is the only dome out of all the shrine that is higher than the minarets next to it. From the inside, the dome provides a spectacular view, for it is adorned with the most wonderful Islamic architecture as well as glazed decorations and inscriptions. From the outside, the dome is covered with copper tiles that have been coated with pure gold. The dome is placed on 4 large pillars. If we were to include the gilded name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the total height of the dome would measure to be 33.5 meters. Its outer diameter is 16.6 meters and its circumference 51.85 meters. A 1.46 meter long gilded band, which is made out of blue enamel and coated with gold, and upon which the blessed Quranic chapter Al-Fajr is depicted, separates between the dome and its neck. A golden spherical ball with a height of 3.5 meters is placed above the dome, stands between the base and the gilded name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The dome was coated in the mid-60s of the 20th century, where 63 kilograms of pure gold were added onto it. Recently, in 2016, and specifically on the 17th of Rabi' al-Awwal, celebrating the auspicious birth anniversary of the Prophet of Islam, Mohammed sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his grandson Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, the dome was recoated with gold in a very important project by the administrators of the Imam Ali alayhi salam shrine. In addition, at the top of the dome, you'll see a number of features. One is a sun-looking structure, which highlights that Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib, peace and blessings be upon him, is like a light that shines through with his knowledge. He's like the sun that emanates with light. As well as that, there are 14 pointers that emerge from this particular sun-looking structure, which is of course the same number as the Ma'sumeen, the 14 error-free, sinless leaders of mankind, the Prophet of Islam, his beloved daughter Fatima, and the 12 Imams. At the same time, you'll see a hand-looking structure, and that indicates or is symbolic of the hand of Imam Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib, where it was raised by the Prophet of Islam in the famous incident of Al-Ghadir on the 18th of Dhul Hijjah, year 10 after Hijrah, in which the Prophet of Islam says, "Whomsoever I am the Mawla, whomsoever I have authority over, then Ali has this authority." The shrine of Imam Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam welcomes millions of visitors across the year who are eagerly anticipating visiting this holy place. Therefore, there is a requirement for expansion and renovation, which indeed has been the case by the noble efforts of those who are responsible for taking care of the shrine. One of the major projects of the shrine expansion in this country is what is known as the courtyard of Lady Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, in which we are here currently. This courtyard includes much of the western section of the shrine complex. It is being designed and built on a gradual basis and across 4 stages, and it includes 4 different levels, 50% of which is reserved for worshippers and of those who've come to display their devotion. The Sahan of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam and the huge project itself will definitely facilitate the process and the opportunity of visitation for millions of visitors throughout the year who come from different parts of the world, eagerly paying their respects towards the commander of the faithful, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam. At the moment, the first phase or the first level of the 4 is completed, and it's hoped that within the next few years, the whole project will see complete fruition. Entering through Bab al-Tusi, the gate of Sheikh al-Tusi, into the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam, on the right hand side you'll see an entrance to one of the oldest mosques in the city of Najaf, known as Masjid Imran ibn Shaheen. This is truly an important area within the shrine of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam, within the courtyard itself. It's currently considered to be part of the shrine itself. When Imran himself rose up against the government of ʿadl al-Dawla, he was eventually defeated, and after his defeat he took a vow that if this man ʿadl al-Dawla was to pardon him, he would build a rawaq, an area in the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam. ʿadl al-Dawla pardoned him, and he built this area in the middle of the 4th century after Hijrah, the 10th century Gregorian. Eventually it became a mosque, and then it became famously known as the Mosque of Imran ibn Shaheen. Now, the mosque lay abandoned for some time until after 2003, where today it's been renovated and houses many seminary lessons as well as graves of prominent scholars, like for example Ayatollah Kazim Yazdi as well as Sayyid al-Husayn Sharafuddin. Behind me is a place known as Jami' al-Khadra, literally the green area of worship. Now this is located in the eastern side of the courtyard of the shrine of the Imam alayhi salam. This place is where Ayatollah al-Uzma Sayyid al-Khuyi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi taught his seminary Hawza lessons. Recently, the wall between the Jami' and the grave of Ayatollah Khuyi and his sons was removed and replaced with a window which is made from stained glass. This is a place where also currently scholars, other teachers within the seminary teach students, amongst a number of places here in the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam, who indeed have many students to come and learn and benefit from being in proximity to the gateway to the city of knowledge. Amongst the well-respected scholars of the Hawza who taught in Jami' al-Khadra was His Eminence Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Sayyid ʿAlī al-Husayn al-Sistani hafidhahullah. Whilst inside the shrine of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, the visitor is recommended to busy themselves and engage with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's through the recitation of the Qur'an or through a number of important supplications, invocations and ziyaras that indeed establish this connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the remembrance of the Ahl al-Bayt. Here, for example, we are in the Sahan, or the courtyard, so to speak, of Sayyida Fatima within the shrine of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And a visitor here is recommended to recite a number of supplications and ziyaras. One could recite Du'a al-Sabah, the supplication for the morning from Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, or Ziyarat Ashura, Ziyarat Warith, Ziyarat al-Jami' al-Kabira, Hadith al-Kisa, دعاء كميل بن زياد, دعاء الندبة, دعاء السمات, دعاء التوسل, the munajat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam. This and many other supplications are highly recommended. But of course, one of the most crucial is one that is referred to as Ziyarat Aminullah. Now this ziyarah is not only specific for the shrine of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, but for every one of the ma'sumeen, whether it's in Madinatul Munawwara, whether it is in Najaf, Karbala, Kadhimain, Mashhad, or in Samarra, we are recommended to recite Ziyarat Aminullah, which is an authentic ziyarah established and one that is from the fourth holy Imam, Imam Zayn al-Abidin al-Sajjad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Now this ziyarah is key because it's made up of two segments. The first is the greeting of the Imam alayhi salam. The second is a supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when we recite this ziyarah and any others, it is crucial that we recite it in Arabic, but also to try and figure out and ascertain its meaning in our own languages too. For example, if it is English or any other language, let's read the translation and reflect on the words. Assalamu alayka ya ameen Allahi fi ardih. Peace and blessings be upon you, O the one who is entrusted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his vicegerent on his earth. Ashhadu annaka jahadta fillahi haqqa jihadih. I bear witness that you struggled in the path of Allah in the best possible way. وَعَمِلْتَ بِكِتَابِهِ, and you worked to establish the teachings of Allah through the Holy Qur'an. وَاتَّبَعْتَ سُنَنَ نَبِيِّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ, and you followed the teachings and the path of his Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his holy progeny. حَتَّى دَعَاكَ اللَّهُ إِلَى جِوَارِهِ فَقَبَضَكَ إِلَيْهِ بِاخْتِيَارِهِ, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised you towards him and made you in his proximity. And the ziyarah continues until the dua begins. Allahumma inna qulub al-mukhbitina ilayka waliha. Oh Allah, the heart of a mukhbit is yearning towards you. Now a mukhbit is somebody whose heart trembles when they remember Allah. It is a state of humility and tawadu and khushu'. وَبَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ, the Qur'an says. وَسُبُلَ الرَّاغِبَيْنِ إِلَيْكَ شَارِعًا, that the way of those who seek you are established. وَأَعْلَامَ الْقَاصِدِينَ إِلَيْكَ وَاضِحَةً, and the means of those who are looking for you is crystal clear. Then at the end it says, Allahumma fastajib du'a'i, Ya Allah, accept my supplication and my devotion. وَاجْمَعْ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ أَوْلِيَائِي, and bring me closer to those whom I love, the holy Ahl al-Bayt, those whom I've displayed highest levels of loyalty and allegiance. بحق محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين, by the sake of Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, والحسن والحسين. إنك ولي نعمائي ومنتهى مناي وغاية رجائي في منقلبي ومثواي. This particular supplication is truly wonderful and mesmerizing, and the visitor lives this feeling of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this feeling of beseeching him, this feeling of servitude that Amir al-Mu'mineen wanted us to feel when he comes forward and says and speaks to Allah, and he says to him, Ilahi kafani fakhran an akuna laka abda. Ya Allah, it is a matter of pride for me that I am your servant. وَكَفَانِي عِزًّا أَن تَكُونَ لِي رَبًّا, and it's a matter of dignity for me and strength that you are my Lord. أَنْتَ كَمَا أُحِبْ فَاجْعَلْنِي كَمَا تُحِبْ, you are exactly how I want you to be, so make me how you want me to be. Now, coming to the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam is a very exciting prospect. Some of us may feel a little bit anxious. Sometimes we may not know what to do. And it's important that we come with the right mindset. We're prepared of what is expected from us. We may be thinking that I come to Imam Ali alayhi salam just to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the fulfillment of my needs. However, there are recommendations and things that we should be doing whilst in this holy place. Remember, this is a place visited by the angels. They pray for anyone who's here. In this location, we recall the life of this illustrious individual that many of us are proud to be associated with. As soon as we come through the gates, it is recommended to recite what is known as Idhn al-Dukhul, the permission to enter. Whilst inside, there are a number of specific makhsus ziyaras of Imam Ali alayhi salam which should be recited. But amongst the most important is one that is referred to as Ziyarat Aminullah, authenticated by our scholars. It is from the holy fourth Imam, Imam Zayn al-Abidin al-Sajjad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. It starts with Assalamu alayka ya Aminullahi fi ardih. Now, after this, it's recommended to recite a 2 rak'ah salah. But let's not forget also that Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, as well as all the Ahl al-Bayt, played tremendous importance towards the Holy Qur'an. Let's recite the Qur'an in this particular shrine and all the shrines of the Ahl al-Bayt. Performing salah, whether it's congregational, jama'ah salah, mustahab salah, or even qada, to make up the prayers, here is highly recommended. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dhikr, reflection and pondering and contemplation, istighfar, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are all key elements of the ziyarah experience and what we should be doing whilst here. But importantly, this is a golden chance. We may never be given this opportunity again. We may never be able to come and pay our respects to Imam Ali alayhi salam again. Therefore, the visitor, when coming here, should have that feeling of gratitude and thankfulness towards the Imam, number one. But number two, a pledge of allegiance and a commitment to change from within. And at the same time, the willingness to spend the time here in the shrine with whatever pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whilst making sure that the shaitan does not affect us by making us speak in vain, or God forbid backbite, or look at things that we should not be looking at. This is a sacred area, and the remembrance of God and the worship of Allah should take center stage. When I come to this amazingly blessed place, when my eyes are cast on this golden darih, your heart begins to soften and you begin to connect with one of the brilliant and the choicest of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Zuwar that come here in their millions, they weep and they cry, remembering the greatness, the achievement, the status of the Commander of the Faithful. It's incredible just to imagine that he's buried just here. This is an Imam that was praised by the Prophet of Islam to be excellent in every possible way, the perfect human being, the husband of Fatima al-Zahra and the father of all the Imams of the Ahl al-Bayt, the one who on the day of Qiyamah will grant human beings the entrance and the seal towards paradise. And when individuals come here, they speak to the Imam from the heart. It is so important that the visitor visiting this blessed shrine opens their heart to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, is grateful to the Imam for all that he had done to save the religion of Islam. It is also important to pledge allegiance, to demonstrate the love for the Imam, the wilayah, the adherence to the teachings of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam, to indicate positive change, to give a commitment and a vow to Amir al-Mu'mineen, who has invited you and has given you permission to visit this blessed place, to continue and to improve one's life in the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But remember, being here is a privilege. And while seeing so many Zuwar, all the guests and the visitors of Imam alayhi salam, it is of the utmost importance that we display the best of akhlaq and mannerism. Nobody should be pushed, nobody should be hurt, nobody should be annoyed. These are all the family of the Imam alayhi salam in the grand scheme. And he has welcomed us with open arms as his followers, as his Shi'a, as those who love to be associated with him. And what a brilliant individual to be associated with. Personally, it's been an absolute honor and a privilege to visit this blessed shrine of Imam Ali ibn Abī Ṭālib alayhi salam, to see the many different places. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the opportunity to perform this ziyarah time and time again on a frequent basis, to be invited for our souls and our hearts to be purified and enriched with the remembrance of Ali ibn Abi Ṭālib. As the Prophet has said, ذِكْرُ عَلِيٍّ عِبَادَةً. The remembrance of Ali is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you all the opportunity, the tawfiq, the blessing to be of those who are blessed with the visitation and the ziyarah of Mawla al-Muttaqeen, Imam al-Muwahhideen, Ali ibn Abi Ṭālib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi.